Hi, this is Dana with Loose Leashes Dog Training. I'm here to talk about adopting a dog and what the first 2 weeks of adopting a dog should look like. Many people make the mistake in the beginning of bringing home a new dog by giving them way too much freedom, way too much affection, and these dogs wind up getting themselves into trouble, and before you know it, they end up back in the shelter. So I am here to talk about how to set your dog up for success and to teach the dog that they have to follow your rules in the home and to set up lots of boundaries and create a safe and loving environment for the dog. When you first pick up your new dog, you want to keep them tethered in the car to let them know from the get-go that they can't be all over the place, running from window to window, sticking their heads out the window, jumping all over you, trying to lick you while you're driving. So number one is, as soon as you get your new dog in the car, have a tether around your headrest and have them safely tethered there. The goal in the first 2 weeks is to meet their basic needs while establishing structure, rules, boundaries in a loving, calm, and authoritative way. This is what your dog needs. At this point, you must exercise restraint. It's going to be very hard to not want to spoil this dog from the get-go, but the first 2 weeks is considered the honeymoon stage, where the dogs kind of feel out what they're allowed to get away with, who's running the show, and if they need to be the leader or not. On many, many occasions, I have heard that dogs seem to be perfect in the beginning, and then they turn into these crazy psychos that are just resource guarding and barking at people come in the home and just kind of all over the place because they have figured out that there's no leadership in the home. So we can very easily avoid this happening by setting up structure, consistency, and boundaries right in the beginning. So I'm just going to go over a couple of definite no-nos. From the beginning, you want to not allow your dog on the furniture, not allow the dog to be sitting in your lap, and not to carry the dog around if it is a small dog. You also don't want to allow any high-value toys, and any toys that they do have or any bones that they do have should be chewed in the crate only. You definitely don't want to bring a new dog into a home with other pets, have toys all over the place, and before you know it, they're fighting over toys. Another thing you definitely don't want to do is you don't want to take any trips to any stores in the beginning. You don't want to take your dog shopping to Petco on day one. Some people leave the shelter and they go right to a store, and you're truly setting up your dog for failure. They have no idea who you are, where they are. They don't know anything about you, and now they're surrounded by a bunch of new people, and they are very, very afraid and can bite very easily. I remember a time that I was in Publix and I saw a lady pushing a shopping cart with 3 little kids in the shopping cart and a 1-year-old pit mix that they had just adopted from the shelter, and here they were sticking this dog in a shopping cart with 3 little loud children who did not have any manners, and this dog was just expected to be able to tolerate that. That is a recipe for disaster, and I would be shocked if that dog was not returned to the shelter a couple of days later. Another big no-no is having family and friends coming over immediately to meet your new dog. Again, your dog still has to learn who you are and who the immediate family is, and bringing in complete strangers to come and introduce them to your dog is an extremely overwhelming amount of stimulation for a dog, and again, setting up your dog to fail. Something else that you want to practice right in the beginning is going through all doorways before your dog. In other words, if you are going out in the yard, have your dog on a leash, and as soon as you open that door, don't let the dog rush out of the door. You would go out ahead and then have the dog come out. Or if you're going for a walk, when you open your door to start your walk, it's very, very important that you go out ahead of the dog, preferably having the dog being in a sit and then calmly exiting the door. When it comes to other pets in the house, if you have a cat, it's very important that the cat has a safety area with a baby gate so that the cat can jump over it if necessary. And honestly, I don't think the dog should even see the cat for the first 2 weeks. Also, if you have other dogs, as much as you want this love fest where they become best friends on day one, that's not safe. So really what you want to do is just practice existence between the new dog and the existing dog. What I mean by that is just if there's another person in the house to walk with you, one person walks one dog, one person walks the other dog, and you just migrate in the same direction and have the dogs just bonding that way. Also, if your other dog is crate trained, ideal situation is you have the crates side by side and the dogs are learning to be right next to each other, but in a very calm, structured way. When it comes to toys and bones, if you have another dog, the last thing you want to do is leave toys and bones all over the floor for your dogs to fight over. I have seen way too many dogs get into a fight in the first few days over food and water and toys and bones, and this is something that can really be avoided if we just pick all of those things up and understand that we don't know this dog's background. We don't know if it ever had toys before, if it ever had bones before. So there's a good chance that now that it has all these wonderful things that it's not going to want to share, just the way a child would having a brand new toy. So if you're going to use bones and toys, let that be something that's in the crate only. And then when you let the dog out, make sure you take those toys and bones out of the crate, because if you have another dog and the other dog tries to go inside of the crate, your dog can very likely become reactive and go after your dog, your current dog, just from going into its crate to take what they believe is their own toys. I'd like to talk about crating. A lot of people think that crates are used for dogs that are destructive and dogs that are not potty trained, when actually a crate is so much more than that. A crate is a safe place for your dog. A crate resembles a den, which in nature is a natural place for your dog to want to be. So when you start setting up your crate, set it up in a room that is not separate from everybody else and have a cover on it. By covering the crate, the dog will feel safe. The dog will feel like it's not stuck in the middle of anything but unable to get to stuff. So by having it covered, the dog just feels a lot more secure. So what you want to do is use the dog's daily kibble, and you want to do crate drills going in and out of the crate. So basically you're going to leash up your dog, and then you're going to say the word crate, and you're just literally going to guide the dog into the crate using kibble. You can even toss some food into the crate and guide your dog right inside. Once the dog goes inside, you're going to close the door. You're going to open the door, and don't let the dog rush out. If the dog tries to rush out of the crate, you're going to close the door real firmly, say no, wait, and then open the door up again. And when the dog is calm, you would say the word break, and then you would let the dog come out of the crate. Again, you're pretty much holding the leash in your hand the entire time. You want to do this multiple times of the day so that your dog has nothing but positive feelings about the crate. You're pretty much going to have this dog inside the crate anytime you're not working with them, anytime you're not walking them, or anytime you're not doing any type of training. So the crate has to be a place that your dog loves from the beginning. A very big problem that I see with lots and lots of dogs, especially ones that were not given a lot of structure from the get-go, is they start barking, whining, pawing at the bottom of the crate, trying to break out of the crate because they have not been taught how to be calm in there. So the worst thing that you can do is ignore that behavior. If you ignore that behavior, you're basically telling the dog that it's okay to freak out in the crate. A lot of people do not want to correct their dog in the crate because then they think that the dog will have a negative association with the crate. But if you think about it, you are only correcting the dog in the crate because they are already showing you that they have a negative association with the crate. So if your dog begins to whine or bark in the crate, you're very calmly going to walk over to the crate, say the word no, and kind of pop the top of the crate with your hand. And then you're just going to walk away. You walk away, the dog barks again, you calmly walk right back over, you say no, and you say no, and then you pop the top of the crate again. If you're doing that and it's not making any change whatsoever in the dog's behavior, another great tool is the pet corrector spray. It's just condensed air, and basically you would just say the word no and just do a little with the crate, with the can, and then just walk away. You don't want to have a conversation with the dog. You don't want to tell them that they are okay in the crate. You just literally want to tell them no plus a correction. I do have a video on these crate drills and stopping crate nonsense that you can find on my YouTube channel, and I will post a link for that. You might be asking yourself why in the world you need to be so strict with this new dog, and why can't you just have fun? But if you think about it, you have possibly, depending on the age of the dog, a lifetime commitment of 10 to 15 years. You have plenty of time to be very affectionate and loving with the dog. You have plenty of time to just play with the dog. But right now, you're literally building the foundation of what your life is going to look like with this dog. Most important thing to understand about dog ownership is it's not just about loving dogs. It's about being a responsible dog owner and providing the dog with all of the resources that it needs. It is not just feeding the dog and playing with the dog. It is teaching your dog that they are part of your pack and that you are the pack leader. In nature, there is always, always, always a pack leader in a pack of dogs. If you do not provide your dog with leadership, your dog will say, I am a dog. I need to be part of a pack with a leader. If you're not going to be a leader, I will take the role. And it's very unfortunate because dogs do not really want to be the leaders. They just want to be part of the pack, but they absolutely need to have a leader. And I cannot say that enough. You have to give this dog what it needs. It's not just about love. It's about teaching the dog that they are part of your pack. You do want your dog to understand that all of these resources will be provided to them, but they do have responsibilities of listening and obeying commands and what you tell them to do. So I'm going to stop here for now. So hopefully you have an understanding of what the first 2 weeks should look like. It's lots of exercise, lots of structure, lots of command training, and lots of decompression time inside the crate. And by doing this, you are going to build a healthy relationship with your new dog.